happening, people? So today I'm going to do a quick video on how I set my lots up. I put my dogs on concrete. They've been on concrete for about 4 years, maybe 5. I kind of forget. And some of the things that I did that you may want to incorporate on your lot if you're thinking about putting your dogs on concrete. And I will say that putting them on concrete is an expensive endeavor. Trust me on that. I spent a lot of money, but I will say it has really paid for itself. The lots are much easier to clean. The dogs are much healthier. And I've set my lots up. When I come in from the afternoon, it only takes me a few minutes to come in and feed and to get them watered, and I'm done. So the benefits outweigh the cost in my circumstance. I started out with, I had 4 lots, 4 10 by 10 lots, and they were on the ground, and they did good for quite a few years. I had them set up underneath the trees, and I would go down about every other day and take a shovel. Most of the time I would take a rake. I'd rake all of the poo to one corner. You know, some dogs is really good, they poo in one spot. Or take a shovel and shovel it out, and every so often go down there and rake the lots out really good, put it in a bucket, and of course tote it and throw it out in the field. So over time, what that caused was, on the inside of the lot, it caused it to start beveling like this. So in periods when it rained a lot, water would stand in the lots. And I remember the year before I did this concrete, every time it was really rainy season, every time I went out to the dog lot, there was just water just standing in the lot. You know, I had to put the boxes up on, you know, cinder blocks, and the dogs stayed wet all the time, and that was just going to creating a really bad situation for the dogs. And if you're going to own dogs, you need to take care of them. The dog can't take care of himself inside a lot. He can't get food and he can't get water locked in a lot. So it's up to you as a dog owner to take care of your dogs. So at that point, I decided I'm putting my dogs on concrete, and I'm gonna, when I set it up, because it's going to cost me extra money to do this, I'm going to try to do it right and then make it as convenient for me as I possibly can. So this concrete pad is 15 feet. It's 15 feet from here out to the end, so it's 15 feet deep, and it's 32 feet from that end all the way down to this end. And that's how I laid it off, 32 by 15. And what that gives me is each run is approximately a little over 5 feet wide and 15 feet long. So that's kind of what I was shooting for in each run. And I can keep 2 dogs in these runs. It's just a lot more cleanup to have to do. So one important thing that I would suggest for you to do, I had a natural slope here, and I formed my concrete up so that I could get a 6-inch slope. So this concrete pad has a 6-inch slope and is sloping that way. So if you're looking at the video, from this point to that point, there's 6 inches of slope going that way. So that allows me, when I wash this out, that the water runs out fairly quickly and it doesn't puddle anywhere. And also from that corner there to this corner is 3 inches of slope this way. So because the way I set it up, my yard has a natural slope and a natural flow that way towards the field. So it was just naturally that I could use the pad this way. Now, I did all of this work myself, so it was a lot of work to pour this concrete. Since it is a dog lot, you want to get it as smooth as you can. We didn't use a machine. I just bull floated it and got it fairly slick. So basically, if you have some help on your layout on your lots, that'll help you. So one thing that I did, I already had this part of the shed made, and it came out to here where these 6x6s are. You can see these 6x. I'll turn this way, you can probably see it. All right, hush. These 6x6s. So I tied in. I used the corner of this shed as part of the roof system to run out. It was just easier for me and more cheaper. when I planted my post, so when I laid this end out, I needed something to tie my wire to here on these posts. So I planted 7 4x4s along the edge of the concrete here, and this acts as an anchor for my wire. There's my wire here. So I wound up buying one 50-foot roll of just regular 5-foot dog wire. All the other fencing that you see, is regular dog fences. Now, to save myself money and not have to buy wire, I had 4 dog fences, 4 10x10 dog fences beforehand. And I wanted to utilize as many of those as I could to save myself some money. The other thing I purchased was some of these clips and some of these wires, and that holds this wire here tight. You will have to purchase yourself some of these poles to tie off to. And you can see here that I actually used a 2x4 here and let it run to the floor. One of the things on the concrete that you'll have to consider is to tie your wire out so one dog can't come from the other. I ran a 2x4 from this end all the way down to this end and attached it to the pole. And at the pole is where I can connect my wire. So I pulled all my inside wire so I could get from the outside and keep it nice and tight. And you'll need to anchor this 2x4 periodically. Now you can see in this lot, see along here, this is it was part of the old lot that I just utilized the very bottom section and of a fence, of a dog fence that was bent up pretty bad. You can see one of them over to the far end that's got a little bend in it. So I try to utilize as much as I could. Now one thing that I sprung for was these double gates. See these double gates here? So I got a door here, the middle wire here, T-post here, and a door here. And that's another reason I laid my lots off in 10-foot increments, is so I could utilize this door. So that just helped me. Basically, that just helped me go in and out of the dog lots. And so I purchased, I actually purchased 3 sets of these, which gives me a door on each one. And also this T-post, if I need to run my wire, it gave me a place to actually attach it onto that particular run. Now, just to attach these, all I did, I drilled me some holes and I just used some regular screws. Screwed it right into the 2x. You see, in order, I had to cut a notch out here in order to get this latch to flop closed. And you'll have to adjust the doors. And also, I definitely wanted a run. So if you get young dogs, they have a tendency to squirt out right underneath your feet and go running down the lot. And so I have a door at that end, and if you'll see, I also have a door on this end. Sometimes I'll pull the truck on this end to load the dogs. Most of the time I load from that side. And as you can see, I have a building fairly full. I have my tractor setting here, and so I had to kind of offset this fence just a little bit. It's a little bit wider on that end. It gets narrow here so I can get the tractor in and out. That really don't matter. It's plenty enough room that I can walk. There's plenty of room that I can walk up and down and work the dogs in and out of the lots. Max, get down here. Come on. Come here. Max. Well, Max says, as you see, Max squirted out the door. So anyway, I'll just let him run around. He's not going to go anywhere. See, he's having fun. So that's the beauty of actually having a run. So one thing that I did is when I run fencing, I left it up about 2 inches, as you can see right there. And And that allows for all the debris and poo to go underneath and go to the outside of the building. Now, I made my dog houses. You can see that I put a place, since this is concrete, and sometimes the concrete gets really cold in the wintertime, the dogs have a place that they don't have to be in the house, but they can sit out here. And if you use wood, young dogs are going to chew it up. So I tried to make the legs, and all of this is just scrap. I got barrels sitting on top of these frames that I made. You can make any kind of frame that you want to. And that's just some scrap that I found. I did have to buy some of the barrels. Now in the barrels that you'll see, there is a piece of plywood that I beveled on each side and fit in there so the dog has a nice level place. Underneath that, there of course there's an air pocket, because the plywood sets up just a little bit in the barrel, and it makes it for a warmer bed in the wintertime. Come on, Max. Max, come on, buddy. Come on. Good boy. This run that you see that I was just talking about, this run here is 1, 2, 3 sections of regular 10 by 10 dog fence that's 6 feet long. And I use this section here, and I put me a door right here in the middle. And of course there's my food barrel there. And I could actually put my food barrel in here, but it's just as convenient to put it out there. And I know some of you is probably going to be curious about what's a swimming pool doing under there, but that's another video. I'm working on a shad tank. It's getting close to striper season, so I'm working on a homemade shad tank in order to keep shad maybe long term, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. While striper season's in, I can go catch shad when it's convenient in the afternoons, and when we get ready to go fishing on a Saturday morning, hey, boom, dip the shad and take off to the river and go fishing. Now, one thing I wanted to show you. Now, you see how short this drip line is. And one of the things that I wanted to do with the short drip line is the waste products come outside of the lot. This drip edge is short, so that when it rains and you got all of this roof that catches all of this rain here, there's a lot of roof system, all that rain comes down here, it drips straight down here, and it drips on all of that waste and poo and dissolves it, and it washes down here. And that's pretty messy here, because I gave the lot a thorough cleaning yesterday afternoon, and I've been running water in the tank, so it's a little wetter out here than it usually is. Now, you know Wildlife Adventures is going to shoot you straight. Now, I will say, if you decide to put your dogs on concrete, put a top over, move them as far away from the house as you possibly can, because there is going to be some odor issues, especially in the summertime. And it's not the poo, it's the urine where the dogs pee. And you will have some odor issues. Sometimes when the wind blows out of the southeast here, it blows it in the shop. If you're around the shop, you can smell it. It don't bother me as bad as it does my wife and some other people, but there is some odor issues. Now, look, it all comes down to what you can afford. So you can see I have my water hose hung here, and it runs along here, and it runs out here to my frost-proof spigot. You can see it sitting on the corner, and that's my well sitting out in the yard. So I rented a ditch witch, and I brought water to the building here, which really aids in cleaning the lots and watering the dogs. I have a 50-foot hose. I keep it coiled in the sun. Now, we've had a mild winter this year, but with that frost-proof faucet and hanging that nozzle up like that on the end, I have not had that thing to freeze this year, not one time. But if it does, I can always go right over there to the faucet that you see there, and easy access to get water here. So that's one of the things that I did. I also added some lights into the shop when I come out here at night, and I just tapped into my lights that were inside of the building, and I ran me a switch. I ran all the lights myself, and that way, because sometimes, you know, sometimes it's after dark by the time I get home from work, and I can come out here, flip the lights on, I can see what I'm doing. I'm not out here with a flashlight. Let's talk about the cleanliness. So in the summertime, as a rule of thumb, cleaning the lots. So just about every 2 to 3 days, I'll take the water hose and I will wash all of the feces and the urine out of the lot. That's kind of a routine. In the summertime, when it dries really quickly, I have a hand blower. Sometimes I'll come in and just take the hand blower, especially if it has pine shavings, a lot of pine shavings, and I'll just blow everything right out of the lot. Or you saw, I think you might have seen the shovel sitting on the end, or I'll take a shovel and I'll just walk in here and I'll just push everything out of the lot. And that's kind of my routine. Now, about 3 times a year, I will take some Clorox in my pump up sprayer, and it's sitting right over there on the shelf, and I will mix a 1-to-1 solution of Clorox, and I'll let the dogs out in the run, close the doors, and I'll get in here and I will first wash the lot out, and then I'll use the 1-to-1 Clorox solution, and I'll saturate the concrete, and then I'll let it sit for about 20 minutes. Then I'll take my power washer at that point. I got a 3100 PSI power washer, and I'll take the power washer and give it a thorough cleaning. Clean the concrete that way too. And the other thing is, when you put the concrete down, very important is that you put plastic up underneath it. If you do not put plastic under your concrete, it will sweat. If it sweats, moisture will be up on the top, and guess what? You're gonna have some sick dogs if you don't do that. So by the vapor barrier up underneath the concrete doesn't allow this concrete to sweat. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hey, drop me a comment in the box. Maybe you have some questions that I didn't go over here that you may need answers for. Be glad to comment back to you about those. And hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, hit that like button below. Please subscribe to the channel. And you remember, it's a wildlife, and I'll see you in the field.